The intruder. It watches you through reflective surfaces when you aren't looking, patient and meticulous in its surveillance. The intruder manifests as a shadowy, elongated humanoid figure with hollow eye sockets and an unnaturally wide grin, often captured in degraded VHS footage or distorted in mirrors where your reflection should be. These entities infiltrate homes undetected, studying human behavior before perfectly mimicking loved ones, the only telltale signs being subtle facial asymmetry and unblinking eyes. They don't kill immediately. Rather, they psychologically torment their victims through whispered threats and rearranged personal belongings, manipulating perception until suicide becomes the only escape. Victims report hearing static-filled whispers moments before encountering their doppelganger. Many theorists suggest the intruder represents our primal fear of identity theft, not just physical replacement, but the erasure of our very essence. Some interpret these entities as manifestations of paranoid schizophrenia, while others believe they symbolize societal conformity, gradually consuming individuality. Next time you catch movement in your peripheral vision, ask yourself, is that shadow cast by something in your room or something pretending to be? The Gemini creature. Deep beneath the crust of Neptune's moon Titan, it gestates in primordial methane lakes, waiting for unwitting human colonists. The Gemini creature presents initially as a bioluminescent, deer-like organism with branching appendages and a hypnotic, rhythmic movement pattern, captured only through thermal imaging or distorted through damaged surveillance feeds. It doesn't hunt traditionally, rather it releases microscopic spores that penetrate human respiratory systems during sleep. Over weeks, infected hosts experience progressive neurological deterioration while developing chitinous growths along their spine. The creature's true feeding strategy involves electromagnetically harvesting fear responses from colonists while they watch their comrades transform. Symbolically, the Gemini creature represents humanity's hubris in space exploration, our assumption that we can categorize and understand extraterrestrial biology through our limited terrestrial framework. Many fans interpret its deer-like appearance as mockery of Earth's natural order, something familiar twisted into cosmic horror. Perhaps the most disturbing question isn't what the Gemini creature wants, but whether what we perceive as its hunger is merely a side effect of something far beyond our comprehension. CESAR TORRES alternate your television glitches momentarily, revealing a face that is CESAR's but somehow fundamentally wrong. Eyes too widely spaced, smile stretching beyond anatomical possibility. CESAR's alternate appears as a corrupted version of the real CESAR TORRES, frequently displayed through emergency broadcast systems with desynchronized audio and visual components, his face periodically distorting into impossible geometries. Unlike other alternates, CESAR's entity doesn't merely replace, it broadcasts. It hijacks emergency alert systems and dormant television sets, displaying instructional videos with subtly altered safety protocols designed to maximize civilian casualties. Its most disturbing quality is its patience. It will broadcast harmless information for weeks before inserting one lethal suggestion among trusted content. Many theorize that CESAR's alternate represents our growing dependence on institutional authorities and media systems, how easily societal trust becomes a weapon when subverted. Others suggest it embodies the uncanny valley concept pushed to psychological horror, exploiting our instinctual recognition of almost human. When the emergency broadcast system interrupts your regular programming tonight, will you trust what it tells you to do? The Moonlight, broadcast entity. Something ancient stirs when the moon reaches its apex, casting pale light across bedroom walls nationwide. The Moonlight entity never shows a corporeal form. Its presence manifests solely through emergency broadcast intrusions, featuring low-quality lunar footage, punctuated by scrolling text urging viewers to go outside now and look at the moon, while analog measurement tones drone underneath. It doesn't physically harm victims. Rather, it compels an irresistible urge to gaze skyward, whereupon observers report feeling their consciousness thinning, spreading upward toward the lunar surface while maintaining awareness of their dissolving selfhood. Transmission survivors describe hearing thousands of voices whispering in unison during the broadcast. Scholars interpret the entity as representing collective unconscious fears of celestial influence, ancient human anxiety about lunar effects on sanity. Others suggest it symbolizes mass hysteria and the dangerous power of suggestion through trusted information channels. Tonight, when you feel that inexplicable urge to part your curtains and gaze upward at the full moon, Ask yourself, is that impulse truly your own? The Caretaker, BunnyFarm. AI children report seeing him in the static between television channels, a towering figure in a stained mascot costume with exposed mechanical parts. The Caretaker appears through corrupted children's entertainment footage, its rabbit-like animatronic form frequently glitching between family-friendly programming and disturbing subliminal frames of mechanical teeth and crimson-stained fur. This entity doesn't merely observe, it grooms. It establishes emotional connections with vulnerable children through supposedly educational entertainment, gradually normalizing disturbing imagery until reality itself distorts around its victims. Most unsettling is its ability to manifest physical objects in viewers' homes, small toys that weren't there before the broadcast began. Psychologists theorize the Caretaker represents parental anxiety about children's media consumption, the fear that something malevolent lurks behind seemingly innocent entertainment. Others interpret it as symbolizing childhood trauma disguised as nostalgia, painful memories packaged in comforting imagery. When your child mentions their television friend who teaches them things when you're not watching, perhaps you should ask exactly what lessons they're learning. Ghost Girl Haas TONETH entity. She lingers in the negative space of abandoned game code, watching from just beyond the boundaries of intended gameplay. The TONETH entity appears primarily as a corrupted sprite, a childlike figure with disjointed limbs and pixelated distortion artifacts, occasionally glitching into frame during specific game sequences or appearing in reflection surfaces within the virtual world. This digital phantom doesn't interact directly. Rather, it manipulates the game's underlying architecture, creating impossible rooms and unsolvable puzzles that trap the player in recursive gameplay loops. Players report seeing the entity remember actions from previous game sessions, responding to real-world conversations had while the console was supposedly powered off. Game theorists believe the TONETH entity represents the uncanny sentience we project onto digital environments, our tendency to perceive consciousness in complex but ultimately programmed systems. Others suggest it symbolizes abandoned creative projects and the ethical implications of creating virtual entities only to leave them imprisoned in unfinished digital worlds. Next time your game console powers on unexpectedly in the middle of the night, consider this. Perhaps something within it doesn't want to be forgotten. The Smiling Man. His grin stretches beyond the physical constraints of human anatomy, visible even in complete darkness. The Smiling Man materializes in degraded security footage as a tall, emaciated figure in formal attire with an impossibly wide, teeth-bearing smile, often captured at inhuman walking speeds or standing unnaturally still for hours before security cameras. This entity stalks urban environments after midnight, mimicking human movement in unsettling ways, walking backward on all fours or moving only when surveillance cameras cycle to different views. Most disturbing is its awareness of recording devices. Footage consistently shows it turning to face cameras that should be hidden, staring directly into the lens before the feed inevitably deteriorates. Cultural anthropologists suggest the Smiling Man embodies modern urban isolation, the fear of unknown individuals in shared spaces, and our increasing reliance on surveillance for security. Others interpret it as representing societal pressure to maintain appearances, to smile despite internal distress. The next time you're walking alone at night and footsteps behind you suddenly match your pace perfectly, ask yourself, is someone following you or something practicing how to walk like you? The house that wasn't there. Property records insist it never existed, yet thousands remember driving past it daily for years. The house manifests in damaged VHS home videos as a Victorian-style structure that appears architecturally impossible. Interior dimensions that contradict its exterior, rooms that rearrange between camera cuts, and windows that show different outdoor scenes than actually surround the property. This location doesn't merely exist, it hunts. It appears in different neighborhoods across decades, always maintaining architectural similarities despite changing its precise appearance. Those who enter report experiencing time at different rates, with minutes inside corresponding to years outside. Most terrifying is its adaptive camouflage, the ability to mimic neighboring structures so precisely that residents don't notice its sudden appearance. Paranormal researchers interpret the house as representing collective false memory, how communities can share convincing recollections of things that objectively never existed. Others suggest it symbolizes gentrification anxieties, the unsettling transformation of familiar neighborhoods. Perhaps the most disturbing thought isn't whether the house exists, but whether you're currently sitting inside it, reading these words as it slowly digests your conception of reality.